Hello, everyone. It's spoiler time again.
Hi, and thank you for being here. And just before we get into it, apologies for the delay yesterday. Oh, but life got in the way.
It sure did. Life tends to do that. Uh, Now, today,
Yeah,
though, the opposite of life is going to get in the way, it seems like.
yeah, I I think it's quite um, a nice hint on what we will spoil.
Indeed.
But I'd say, without further ado, let's get into it.
All right, let's do. All right. So, what we're going to be talking about today is, of course, the New Blood Hecata preview. But as a subtitle, we have putting the ally in alliances. Because that is, what the Hecata are. They're a giant alliance of a bunch of different families. There were always a family the whole time, but not really a family. You know how families go, right? Sometimes your family
Yeah,
isn't your family, but they were your family because family is the family you family all along.
but and you can get rid of them even if you wanted to.
Yeah, especially in this
And
case. They just keep coming back.
yeah,
Uh, but yeah, so the Hecata, Fast and the Furious jokes aside, are a very ally-centric clan, or at least as we've seen so far. Right away, right out of the first pack, you get three really good allies, and we'll take a look at those, and then we'll take a look at Bleed to Trace's new ally that they posted as well. But let's start the show with Screamer.
because the card we are going to spoil is, of course, ally related, and to just see which effect this could have or which impact this could have, it's quite good to just have a look at a few cards before what even so. Don't what
You should have
so,
teased them a
sorry.
little more. Don't give them that much info. The more you give
I,
them, the
I need
more.
to change that. Um,
uh,
just take over. I'll be back in a second.
okay.
Sorry.
But yeah, so Screamer is, in my opinion, one of the maybe more underrated cards overall for the Hecata. Um, it does have some nice benefits, but it's kind of a situational card. There are scenarios where you're going to want to have a couple of this vampire in your deck or this minion in your deck, but you're not going to want to have like a bunch of them. Having one or two is nice. It's going to give you that additional ability to maybe get a block off or to stop something that you don't want to happen. But it's only, again, targeting an ally, which is extraordinarily limited. It does have a bleed, which is nice, but only a single life for one pool could be a pretty heavy cost. Jan, any comments?
Yeah, I mean, I do like the card since we reviewed or spoiled the Gate of Acheron, which has some synergy on the block level,
Mm-hmm.
and of course it's just a Hecata in general very ally centered, at least from what we know as of now,
Mm-hmm.
and having something where you don't have to block with a vampire, just you can cancel, and maybe is quite nice. I
Oh,
mean, it is the most costed ally from all of what we know, at least now. I mean, a pool for that, but I think the cost is fine
yeah.
because there might be ways to deal with that.
Well, going beyond that, then we did mention more allies. So of course, this is less a Hecata one, but I mean, Oblivion is Hecata at this point. So you got Spectral Servitor. We've seen this card played a lot overall. You usually run a handful of these, either to act as a quick short-lived blocker, or because it's it's basically baby making for a short term that is pretty effective when you run it. Jan, what have you seen from this card?
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly the one or two times I've played aggressive corpse was the dominant ally, but it is quite nice. Like it can act. It's like the Nocturne rebuild, and I think for one blood, like not pool even, just one blood, is just great.
I mean,
of course you have to repay every time, but still you get a lot out of it.
Yeah. I think the value of just being able to essentially play it for borderline free. One blood seems like a lot, but one blood is what you'd normally pay to freak drive off an action, and this has the freak drive built in. So yeah, definitely a good card. But of course, you mentioned it already. Aggressive corpse.
Yeah, I mean, this has been so all over the place. It's like not shambling halls, but somewhat shambling halls, and an ally which cannot be stolen from either dominate or presence. It's just great. Built-in rush, strength.
Also, in combat strikes made by it can't be dodged, so it even gets around the weaker form of evasion. It's just there's so much to this card that is so strong. It's arguable that this card is probably better than its other undead counterpart with a rush. Even though this ally can't gain life, but what does life gain really matter, right? We know we're in what is the equivalent of necromancy. No hints there. I mean, anyway. And then lastly, we recently got spoiled by Bleed de Trace. A great card. Glad they got to have a really good card to spoil in Bone Shambler, an Oblivion Hecata only card that really gives an interesting mechanic here. The Bone Shambler is a 1/1 for 1 that has this interesting ability to be increased in bleed value by locking another copy of itself. It's a really good mechanic to start. And then the advanced version. Yeah, go ahead, Jan.
Yeah, even for the advanced version, like you can get a bleed of. If you have 2 out, you can have either a bleed of 4, 2 if you get your action through, or a bleed of 3 with only 1 card, which is quite nice. Maybe I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if there would be ways to unlock allies in the new blood.
I really kind of hope not. I don't I'm already bothered by the fact that there are so many corpses running around tables lately. I think the idea of having backup bleeders for 3 that just casually do things that can still casually do every other thing is just not necessarily what I'd be looking forward to. But I have to say that this is still a better ally alternative than the imbued. And I don't think there'll be any shots fired in that statement.
No, we don't. Just no imbued.
But we did mention that this is all basically necromancy, and there is part of a reason for that. When we think about the cards that make up what necromancy does, part of it is bringing back allies, and they've had some pretty messed up cards. One of these cards is not correct. I don't know why this creeping sabotage is sitting here. The other card is definitely correct. Compel the Spirit was an old card you could use to bring back an ally or retainer, but there were a lot of restrictions to compel the spirit. In fact, this was kind of necromancy's whole problem, is everything came at a sort of cost.
Yeah, the other card which should be there is Pressing Flash, by the way.
Yes. Another card that has a restriction, a timing restriction on it, that the ally had to have left your ready region. And that really can feel kind of bad when you're just trying to bring out something that might be a little overpriced, or that you might have needed to have discarded earlier for some benefit. But what if? What if that was no more? This is Split the Veil. Finally, the reanimation card you've wanted. No more do you have to put the ally into play. No more do you have to get a timing just right to make things happen. Split the Veil lets you cheat that. You can play it at any time. Anytime.
And
You do not need an ally down. Go ahead. You want to?
It does read, put this card in play with 2 counters. During your unlock phase, you can burn 1 counter from this card. You can burn counters from no more than 2 Split the Veil cards each unlock phase. If this card has no counters, burn it and move a Wraith or Zombie ally from your Ash Heap to your ready region with life equal to its starting life.
Yeah.
So, if we go through real quick, it's as Steve said, you don't need an ally or even multiple in your Ash Heap. You can, whenever you get the card, you can put it in play, get 2 counters on it, and even just prepare burning 2 of each. Like you can have 4, and you don't need to burn 1, so you can just prepare for when you make a lunge or when you just need more screeners, for example.
Yeah. I think that versatility is incredible. This is the kind of thing where I expect to see a handful of these on the table ready to bring back the minion that you want. You're not worried about like, oh, well, this guy died 2 or 3 turns ago. I can't bring him back. I can only bring back this person. The stacking mechanic just works so well with these. Just have these out, pick what you want, get them all down to 1, and just when the time comes, bring back what you know you need to. It's also nice because as an opposition card, your opponents know this is here. This changes the way as well that they're going to play against your minions. They may not want to strike to damage as much because now it goes from being a minion that was on the table at maybe a weaker position, say the groaning corpse is at less life, so you can pick it out at a later time, or like if you happen to be playing some of the older stuff, because bear in mind this is not a Hecata Wraith or zombie; it's any Wraith or zombie. You may not want them to bring it back because it might be stronger when brought back this way. So you might play a little bit differently around this card. You might also be more incentivized to do other things against your opponent if you see this card in play. I think this is a rock solid card for the Hecata.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's necessary that it has a restriction on it. Only 2 allies can come into play each turn from this effect.
Yep.
Because, and I think 2 is a good number. It's like 1 is a bit tiny, but putting 3 minions into play, which can act that turn, like no restrictions, they're not recruited.
For 0 cost.
For 0 cost. So, it's good. 2 is fine. But 3 or even 4 would have been way too much. But that said, it seems like, it's a bit counter. Not interacting with Psychophagia, the card which was one of the most spoiled cards.
Yeah, it is. It is very opposed to it. It seems, but let's think about it for a second, right? Like the idea of being able to use the ash heap has been an underutilized concept in a lot of VTES for a long time, and this isn't just in your ash heap; it's in any ash heap. This could actually stop Hecata decks from being out of control because suddenly the Hecata are eating the other Hecata's minions from out of the ash heap and gaining blood back for it.
Yeah, just which are there any allies which you wouldn't want to come back? Legionnaires are not so prevalent now, but it does have an effect. But I expect the most time it will be used for your own minions, like getting 3 blood back or 2 and have an unlock is quite strong by itself, especially as an alternate hunt action
Mm-hmm.
for which you gain 3 or 2, whichever you want. Um, but I think there might be 2 ways to interact with Ash Heap in the deck. We don't know. We are not playtesters, so just
Yeah.
speculation here. But Psychophagia and a card we'll just uh, show next. Remove from Ash Heap, like out of game. There's no further interaction. Uh, Marchesa Liliana. Gosh,
Marchesa Liliana.
my pronunciation is off today. Sorry. Um, but so yeah, I think there might be more cards into getting stuff back into play, like Split the Veil, or just utilize your Ash Heap in a different way, taking cards out of play for other beneficial effects. And I think both are quite nice and new to V5 also.
Yeah, I really think that there is a lot of interesting play here that they're pointing in a direction of making this fusion between these clans into a synergy of all the things, bringing stuff back, using stuff that's gone as a resource, and then like layers in between that veil. I think we'll start to see. But if I may for a moment, let's talk real quick, real shortly about the other side of Oblivion. Hey, there better be some really good Lisombra stuff coming because right now you're juicing up the Hecata real good. And I don't wanna end up in a position where I have to listen to everybody. Now bear in mind, I'm not saying this is how the game will be. I'm saying this is what I don't want to listen to. Oh, everything is just the Ministry and the Hecata. There are no other clans being played. And they're just so good. They're all busted. Look, it's strong, it's interesting, but it's narrow. Right? Most of the Hecata decks I've played against so far have been very narrow. Put out aggressive corpse, put out some other wraith minions, try to manipulate the table in some way so that your corpses are getting the most value that they can. Lather, rinse, repeat. Ministry has their voting engine that is basically one end, and their bleeding engine, which is the other end, but very straightforward. If you happen to have what you need to stop those decks from being as effective, you're basically good to go. Aggressive corp strategies often are like really hurt by needing to have delaying tactics against your Ancilla empowerments, right? One of those is like, and the player disappears. You don't want to be in that situation. So you just think about how you're going to play things through, and you may end up finding that this isn't such a big deal. But when the Ministry came out, and when the New Blood came out on top of it, all I heard constantly was, the Ministry are so strong, they can't be beaten, they're busted, they're OP, their cards are unbalanced. And now you look at like V5 play or even regular play, and the Ministry aren't running anything. It still has wide and open a game as VTES will always be, because the Ministry are also nap time central.
Yeah, and I think it's nice we get a strong clan because otherwise people would complain, and that uh, with fair reason,
Yeah.
that they would not be playable or not be able to compete. But the way they unfold, as we know, like from what we can tell, they're strong, they're playable, they add something new which hasn't been very like allies have been introduced with Wargul somewhat, but they add a new level to that. And nice interactions too.
Hmm.
So I can see Screamer decks built with the ability to recycle for free. So Gate of Acheron or Pit of Contemplation can survive long enough, and you don't have to spend all your resources for blocking all the time. But you can choose which blocking card you want to spend, Eagle
Hmm.
Sight maybe, and just rely on the other stuff to keep yours useless safe. Like potentially more control
Yeah.
opportunities. I don't know.
Yep. But all in all, thanks again, BCP, for yet another awesome spoiler card that we got to discuss. I'm really looking forward to seeing where this card goes, what this card does, and what new cards come with it. But what I'm most looking forward to, by the way, some Sombra support. But more importantly, where's my
No,
fucking New Blood Salubri? Where is it? Give me my New Blood Salubri. Give me my New Blood Salubri. Give me